What is going on, everybody? You guys know me. I am Teasy Scott at Teasy Scott, Instagram, Twitter. We are here in the studio room, Swerve City Podcast.
My dungeon.
My bro's dungeon here with the beautiful light, the green screen, the pictures of the legends, what you see every week on the Swerve City Podcast YouTube channel. If you guys also subscribe, as I'm saying, that youtube.com/Swerve City Podcast. Subscribe to the Patreon.
Subscribe, y'all.
Patreon.com/Swerve City Podcast. Become a patron to see all the exclusive content that we be dropping weekly for you guys. Twitter.com/Swerve City Pod. And here we're doing a special episode for you guys because if you guys have, unbeknownst to you guys, if you guys have been watching the podcast, all you guys that's been supporting us, thank you. We are in the process of finishing up our double album, G.P.S/Erica's Son, that we are working on right now. And I was talking to the bro and I had this idea. I said, you know what? Now that we're on album number 2, I wanted to give people a little bit insight into what's going on with the next project,
Yes.
If people know the creative process of Swerve City's music, Swerve will sit back with some amazing ideas. He picks the beats. He'll come up with some amazing concepts. And we'll go into the studio, and the foundation is laid where he comes to me for input. I add my input, and my bro comes up with some of the most craziest concepts I've ever been a part of in my long journey of doing music. So as we go deeper into this project, to give people a preview of what's going on, and also to give you guys a disclaimer at the end of this little show here, we're gonna give you guys around a timetable that the album will be dropping. So Stay tuned for that. Towards the end of the...
Watch to the end.
Do
not skip ahead, because we're giving some nice little golden nuggets for you.
Absolutely. So my bro, we're in the process right now of GPS.
Yes. So GPS, I always like to put an undertone to everything from humble beginnings. We kind of put it out there for you from humble beginnings. That's the undertone of the first project, and so you follow the story of that throughout the album. But for the GPS one, that's a very, we don't give it to you straight up. It's not like a surface thing. Like GPS is like, oh, okay, where does you going with this project? The undertone of that is the journey of life. And I like to put out there like that in this journey of life, things don't always go exactly how you plot the course. Like a GPS system, you kind of like follow those directions, but sometimes you reroute. Sometimes this road isn't updated on the map, so you got to take detours. You got to move around differently. Some people, it throws them off and they get lost and they just cancel their trip and they turn back around and they go back home. A lot of us, we continue that journey, but we navigate and we have to adapt to the road, to the routes, to the interstate, to wherever we are to get to that destination. We hit roadblocks all the time. So this album is about how we deal with those roadblocks, what those roadblocks may be for myself, for Teasy, to us both together as a group, what these roadblocks may mean to a lot of people that can relate to it. So it's a journey, and this is also like a time where we step up on every single aspect of our art on this album. Our lyricism, our speed and the rhymes, our writing has stepped up to a whole new level. The features on this is what I'm really proud of, because these are people that you're all familiar with, whether it be like in music or entertainment, whatever. These are people that are truly believing in our project and our movement and our voice and our vision and our art. And so this is like the best cosign I could ever ask for. These people I grew up listening to and watching. So now these guys are like understanding, like, yo, I love what you're putting up. Yep, I'm down. Let's do it. And so I'm all for it. See, this is some new conceptualized music that we're putting out too. Like, we got some jazz in there, we got some dance hall type stuff. Like, man, I can go through each and every song and like break it down like one by one, but there's some surprises I want to leave for y'all too. There's some things I want y'all to be like, oh, I did not expect this. So I want y'all to be surprised in the same sense. So that's GPS to me. Let me know what you think.
For GPS, sophomore albums are naturally stigmatized as
Very
the
much
hardest album that you'll ever make in anything, whether it's group, solo, trifecta, whatever you're a part of. Sophomore albums are known as the hardest thing because you you want to show advancement, but you don't want to capture what the first one was. A lot of people make mistakes in the studio of trying to capture what that first one is. And that's the problem sometimes with sequels and like trilogies to albums.
At the same time, keeping the core of what made that
Right.
first one,
Right.
that first
Right.
magic, you know?
Right. So if you made, like, let's say we was doing From Humble Beginnings 2 and it came out later this year. The problem with that is you find yourself kind of chasing the sound and trying to chase the magic that you had on those first records. And you can't naturally do that. You have to go in a totally different direction.
You gotta mature.
Absolutely. So with GPS, when he came up with the idea, I was like, okay, I see where he's going. And when we started this recording process, I was like, okay, I want to make sure that I'm in tune with where his mindset is. So I always believe in adaptability. So I was able to adapt to where he was going. And the songs we've recorded for this project and the songs that we have planned for this project, I was like, okay, I feel a confidence in this. I naturally feel that this is better than the first one. I'm not just saying that to promote it. I'm saying this honestly. From the first one, it was like the birth of your first child. And in the sense of music, it was like our first child was from Humble Beginnings. That's like the very special kid,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Now we feel like we both have a point to prove. Swerve has proven through his first album that he can rap with the best of them. Me, I've proven that no matter, you know, how long I've been here, I still have a point to prove myself musically, and what people might know me for is just a total different lane. So GPS really means something special to me because it really shows the diversity of us as artists. Our chemistry is even stronger than the first one because now we know how we work together musically. Working together on a podcast is different from working together musically, or even being friends and having a friendship, a brotherhood. All these things are different.
Yep.
So you have to find different ways to do that. And I'm very, very proud of what we've done, man. I want you, if you can, give us one nugget, one announcement, one feature. Give us one song people can expect from the album that you're willing to give right now.
First off, shout out Rich Latta for producing this whole project.
Shout out to him.
From top to bottom.
Absolutely.
Shout out to him. I'll give you two, actually.
Okay, bet.
So we did a tribute track to one of Teasy's mentors up in New York, legend in the hip hop game, Busta Rhymes. And we took a little flip and twist on the Gimme Some More track, and that beat. The Dropbox should be coming too soon to people on IG Live right now. That should be dropping anytime this week, so look out for that. But there's a feature on that track as well, so we don't give you everything from that song. So there's a guy that my brother-in-law, who's really big into hip-hop as well, used to do it himself, but he's really big into like IG and like following artists on social media and stuff. And he sent me a guy, a Party at 4. Now this guy was co-signed from Bone Collector, the battle rapper himself. Mm-hmm. You know, on social media he co-signed him and put him over on social media. So I was like, man, I just start going through his IG, just start listening to a lot of his stuff. His flow is insane. He has a great voice. He can sing as well, which and he produces his own tracks. So he reached out quickly as soon as I could. Me and Teasy both did, and we was like, yo, we need to do something together. And he was, I'm down. So we got him featured on that track. Spit a nice little 12, 14, 16, whatever it was. It was fire and flame. But my baby that I'm holding on to real tight is Bad As She Wanna Be. That track, that's like, I'm like all hands on this thing.
So that's your Need Some Help.
Yeah. Need Some Help on the first one was that's my baby. I'm treating this thing with TLC. And get Leo to do it, and the concept with that was my brainchild. And this one is this track right here. And man, big announcement right now. We got Ron the Truth Killings featured on that track coming soon.
Yeah. Say that one more time for the people in the back.
Our Truth.
Talk about it.
Our Truth, the 85-time 24/7 champion on WWE programming, is going to be featured on the song Bad As She Wanna Be. So look out for that. That's dropping soon. We're working on that this Sunday in the studio. Yeah, so look out for that one. That's coming soon. But that's going to be like my Frankenstein. You know, my Frankenstein's monster on that one. So that's my favorite already. We haven't even made the track yet, but that's already my favorite song in the whole album.
Facts. For me, there's a lot of different songs on this album that I really, really like. And I haven't necessarily have a one yet that I'm like favorited because all of them has been fun doing. I know as soon as we get done, I'm gonna listen back and be like, oh man, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But even more just for, like he explained, more of a personal thing, just of with Shamelo and Busta and that whole relationship. And I tried to wrap my behind off on that record just to do it justice. Great idea by Swerve on that one. There's also
I pushed you a lot on this album.
yes,
I pushed you.
yeah, he really did. He really.
At 1087, I pushed you.
Yeah, it was a lot of it's a lot of. See, the thing about it is, and I don't want to make this too long, but I just want to say this: when you start making artistry, you have to start pushing yourself in different ways and try different flows and different things you might not have done in a while, or things you might not have done, or things you might not be favored to. And that's the concept of a great group, because one person has an idea and you have to and the adaptation is being able to conceptualize that idea. So he definitely pushed me on this project, and if you hear me, it's two different people, like even from the solo stuff to the rest of the stuff to this stuff, I make a point not to be the same. And there's different people. You get different elements of me in each thing that I do. So this is really, really great to be able to be pushed to this level and to feel like, hey, I really am like on a technical level. I feel like on a technical level, Swerve City is getting me at my peak of music. On a technical level of being able to do anything that is on the track list and being able to try different styles and be comfortable doing it. But yeah, Even More is an amazing record. You guys will see that Dropbox very, very soon. Also,
yeah, I throw a lot of. I think that was the challenge. We throw a lot of monkey wrenches at each other when we at the studio, like especially with like wordplay for me. Like I'm just starting getting my flow in my pocket and my rhyme schemes down and stuff. And sometimes I'll need help with like fixing a bar or two or a syllable scheme. And Teasy would just like throw something in there and then challenge me. It was like way more complex than something I would have came up with. But I'm like, all right, if he trusts me to do this, I got to figure out a way to figure this out and pull this off in the booth.
Always delivers. I've never been around a person like this. I tell you people, like, you think you've been in the studio with this person, you can name drop 15 million people. Doesn't matter. When you get someone who's like adapted, I talk about adaptability, being able to adapt. This man adapted to music faster than I did. And it took me some training to get to this point. Hey man, write this down. And I don't write it in the sense of him not being able to get it. I write it in my head of how the flow's going on the record. And I just see if he could do it. And every single time. I don't write it like to try to make it difficult for him or like, oh, he ain't gonna be able. No, I'm trying to make the best record. I'm not. Yeah. It's not a competition thing.
But that's where the challenge is.
Right.
It's like that's the challenge. Is if it fits the record and it's going to make it. If it's going to take the song from here to here, he's gonna push me to get it there. We're not settling for here.
Right.
We're done with doing that.
Absolutely.
We're not doing
facts.
that.
That was the very first song we ever did was the end of that.
Yes.
The very first song we did, which one you'll never hear, was the end of that. There is no archives. You're not gonna hear it.
No.
So.
But that was a promise I had to make to myself. It was like I will never do that again.
Right.
Like I won't allow myself to because I hear his voice and hear his music, his catalog. It's like, man, I got to live up to that. That's a high bar set, and for me to it wasn't just like oh, you want to rap? All right, come on in. We're going to be a group. No, it's like, all right, if we're going to be a group, you better start killing these things. You better step up to the plate, match these vocals, match these rhyme schemes. And I was like, all right, here I go. Like, it was not a charity.
And then on his end, it's like, okay, I'll do this, bro. But on the end, it's going to have to do some rewiring. I said, okay. Mm-hmm. That's no problem. Because there's a lot of things.
Stripped them down. Boom.
Stripped down, and now we're doing different things that I've always wanted to do. He's given me the confidence to be able to do things I've always wanted to do. I just didn't have the ear to do it. Sometimes, that's why they say, you want to be the owner of the grocery store, you can't do everything. Somebody has to be the manager. Somebody's got to do something. And with him doing the music part and him coming up with the conceptual ideas, then once someone is comfortable leading me in that direction, then I know how to, But if I did it myself, it wouldn't sound the way that it sounds coming from him. So that's the beautiful thing about us pushing each other. One other thing I wanted to say briefly about this, I don't want to give them too much, but one thing I want to give them briefly about the album too is, how do you feel about yourself as an artist going into album number 2? Do you feel more comfortable? Do you feel more confident than from Humble Beginnings?
Yeah, I'm way more confident now. I know, like, I don't come up with the concepts at the studio anymore. I come up with them here. Like, when I'm sitting around doing nothing, like, I like take notes. When I just come up with, like, oh, this word.
Me too, bro.
I can come up with a million different meanings to this word and a bunch of different rhyme schemes for this. I write it down. I come up with stuff, like, on the spot. I'll come up with it playing Madden and just sitting there chilling. I'm like, oh, I'll hear a word, I'll see a word, and I'm thinking about all the different ways I can flip it, get all the different meanings. Can I use it as a noun? Can I use it as an adjective, a pronoun, a verb? Can I get multiple meanings out of this? You know, can I, like, wordplay another word that sounds like it and then, like, bring that back 4 bars later? You know, like, I'm thinking, I'm chess with this now. You know, I'm not putting myself, like, on a pedestal or anything, but I'm really feeling like I'm feeling like I surpassed a certain point of where I'll look at my first projects and stuff. I'm like, man, I stepped up wholeheartedly past those. You know, I wasn't challenging myself enough. Now, but now, even where I'm at now, I got to challenge myself even more.
Absolutely.
You know,
every song, every project, it has to, mentally for yourself, the bar has to raise. And the problem with, you know, I'm not saying it's a problem, but the thing with a lot of artists after a while, and the reason why either the sound gets diluted or they don't feel inspired, is because they feel like they've captured lightning in the bottle for that time.
Yep.
We work at a different... The great thing about being in a group is that when you have another mind, it is easier to come up with concepts and catch on, because he can come up with a concept that say, hey, bro, you did this, you've been through this, or da-da-da, and then I'm able to conceptually do that. A lot of times when you're working alone, it's a lot harder to do that. So that's the great thing about being in a team and us working together, is everything is building up to that point, and being able to come up with a conceptual album that we feel is great. One nugget I'm going to give him, and I told him this off camera, I feel Swerve is one of the, if not the best person I've worked with as far as having concepts. I can't tell you over the years how many people I've rapped with, just doing features for him, and it's just not like, hey, bro, I got a track for you to be on. Okay, what you gonna do? Write a 16 about this. Okay, fine. But with my bro here, everything is a concept. You'll hear it on this album, and the way it's structured, it's a concept. Everything has a reason, where it is. Some people are great lyricists. They can come up with the 15-letter words. But some people are great conceptual artists, where a body of work is truly what matters. And not everybody's great at that.
That's what I grew up on, though. You know, like, I grew up on, like, a Aquemini album. You know, I grew up on, like, Jay-Z, like, Meet the Parents type tracks. Lupe, Food and Liquor. You know, I grew up on Graduation, Late Registrations, and Commons B, and... You know, that's what I, like, even in the Black Star, you know, those are the guys I came up on. So, like, rhyming just to rhyme, there's artists that are amazing at it and can do that. That's just not in my DNA, and I figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's what my turning point was. I figured out what I was, rather than searching years of, like, seeing other people do this, or I like this rapper, so I do what he does, or hearing this song, I do what this does. No, like, I figured out, like, no, I feel like I'm best in this category, and I'm going to keep following with that and keep going down this rabbit hole, see how deep it goes, see how much I can pull out of it, figure it out, you know. That's where I feel like that's where my strength was. I found that early. And, like, there's going to be a million lyricists better than me. I will always say that. But at least I know, like, if you hear this song, it's going to remind you of me. That's where I feel like that's where capturing something is. Like, this song, oh man, that sounds like some Swerve City stuff right there.
It's a gift, because many people don't have it, bro.
Yeah, somebody like, shout out Makazi, man. I'll be playing him some of our songs, and, like, I just told him to go listen, and he shouted us out on social media, and he's just like, man, like, he's like, y'all know I don't shout out music like this, but I was telling you, go out of your way to listen to this song. And you're talking about Broke Boys. It's just, it doesn't sound like anybody. He's like, man, I get a feel from this. Like, I hear this song and it gives me some LA noir type feel. Like, some of these things sound like very 1940s with these horns and these. I'm like, that's cool. That's my enjoyment. That's where I get the enjoyment out of.
Absolutely.
For me.
Absolutely, man. You know, so a few things before I wrap this up.
Yep.
It's been a journey with the music and everything that, you know, we both have done together, and my previous catalog in the past, and everything that has led us to this point. So the decision to make it a double was initially saying this project that I'm working on is Erica's Son is literally is like my detox. It has to come out, because if it doesn't, I've been holding on to it. I don't do this with other people that I work with when we get into this lane, but when you work sometimes by yourself and you start overthinking and the project isn't going the way it was at first, I will honestly say working with Swerve helped me finish Erica's Son and what I was working on. It helped me finish the last 4 or 5 records, because I feel like I grew to the point to be able to finish it. Mm-hmm. At the time, it wasn't in my mind. I was doing so many theme songs, I was in that mode. And I was on my album sounding like that guy. And I couldn't do that. Working with him inspired me to finish the creation of Erica's Son, which I've been working on for a little bit before we started working on From Humble Beginnings. So it's been that time. And, you know, just being able to give you guys a process of things that I've been through in my life. I've never put out anybody that knows me, I've always put out mixtapes. I've always put out free stuff. I've never conceptually put down a project on any digital market, because that just wasn't my lane at the time. And I put out a lot of singles, mixtapes, but this is actually the first project that I'm glad we've, you know, if you guys are familiar with the Love Below speaker box, this is exactly what it is. And to be able to feel like I have the confidence to be able enough to finish it and to be completely done with it now, it's a great feeling. To give you guys a quick nugget, there's a track with Diani, that is Talib Kweli's daughter. We have a song called Fiasco, which is a kind of a ode to the real song from Lupe from Food and Liquor. That is a song I'm very, very proud of, and I don't even listen to it much myself, because I don't want to get in overthinking mode. Plus, we're in the concept of finishing the group album, so I wanted to make sure I was done with that and really get into the mode. When you're working on 2 different things at the same time, it can kind of mess you up. Yep. And you want to make sure one thing's done before you get to the other thing, because you got to switch minds.
Yep. If you look at our whiteboard out there, with tracking which tracks we got to go through and songs and concepts and stuff, I had to star certain songs. I'm like, these are priorities. We don't move on to these without these getting done first. We have to get these done, because if we don't focus and channel it, we're going to throw the whole project off, and we're going to misconstrue concepts, lyrics, storytelling. It has to go to these first, then we can get these done. And I without Humble Beginnings, I wouldn't know how to do it with G.P.S. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad I'm doing it now, because now I have the life experience at 30 years old.
Facts.
To be able to put that life stuff in this music, because 22-year-old me couldn't make music like this.
Me neither.
So I'm glad this is perfect timing.
Me neither. One quick caveat too before we get to the release date. There is a song called Greatest Ever with myself, Mega Ran, and Josiah Williams. We are all on the same record again. I'm glad I got to push both of them to kind of go into a different world. That is on Erica's Son as well. Me, Josiah Williams, and Mega Ran. We all decided to come together, and I'm glad I was able to bring them into my world for this record, so they were able to. Very, very proud of Josiah's verse. I was very proud. And to be able to put that all together for that concept as well. So, we're going to get to the release date soon, here in a second, but let you guys know there will be a double disc. It will be kind of like a speaker box Love Below concept. All the songs will be conceptualized, and I'm adjusting the songs to how G.P.S. is, so it flows, so it doesn't just sound like a hodgepodge.
Stop, and here we go.
Right, here we go. Everything's going to flow into everything. So that's a great thing, and I'm happy to be here and to give you guys this double album, this concept, and to be working with my bro on this, and for us to come together, team together, and make history. You know what I mean? So Swerve, I want to ask you, my brother, when you feeling? What's What's the date you feeling, my brother?
Man, seeing how 2020 has been going, it's been a very down year, like, as far as like with entertainment production right now, man. Well, welcome to the show. We got behind the mic, Mike Simmons over here.
Oh wait, man, I'm on the Instagram live.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Go ahead and shout that mixtape, baby. Yeah, I'm about to surprise, man. Mike's been in the studio working on the tape. He been coming to St. Pete every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
He been in the studio with T every day, booking 9-hour sessions.
Y'all ridiculous.
He slept in the studio.
He slept in the studio.
But
He wrote my last 3 verses, just like that. Anyway.
for how 2020 has been going, man, with COVID, with just political differences, riots going on. There's been a lot going on this year, and I think we need some, positive vibes to wrap up this year. You know, like there's not a better time for communion to bring everyone together than a Thanksgiving time, man. So Thanksgiving Day, you're getting Erica's Son / G.P.S. from your boy Monteezy and Swerve City. Let's do Thanksgiving
Day, man. Thanksgiving Day.
Eat some turkey and count your blessings. Eat some turkey and listen to our music.
A wonderful thing, man. I'm telling you, man. It's just, this process of making music with my bro is just, it means everything to me, and to this whole process. Thanksgiving Day, you guys are getting GPS, Erica's Son, an amazing concept album. I haven't let him hear anything from Erica's Son.
I don't know a word, and I'm not even on Erica's Son.
I haven't let him hear anything. Future stuff where everything's together.
Possible.
But this here, I had to get this off my chest, and it's off my chest. So that is our announcement. GPS, Erica's Son is coming Thanksgiving 2020. Make sure you guys, all digital markets, we have content coming before the album.
We got work to do. That's 3 months away.
Yeah.
Dude, we gotta push.
We are at the deadline.
Yeah.
And knowing us, we always stick up to the challenge. And I like that we're putting ourselves under pressure, because sometimes you need that.
Ain't nothing else to do, man. I'm working and podcasting, and then St. Petersburg studio. This is where I'm going.
You know.
So every other week I'm in the studio.
Absolutely. So we're
And
cooking.
then every other week I'm in this studio.
So we're cooking, man. We're in the process of giving you guys a classic project, and you're gonna have a lot for your streaming pleasures. And make sure you guys buy it, support it. There's gonna be music videos for the projects. A lot of things going on. You guys will not feel like you didn't get your money's worth with this project, as we didn't do with the last
Ample.
one.
You can get fed.
So
Physically and audibly.
absolutely. So that is this episode of Teases Tables. We sit down here and give you guys the rundown of GPS, Erica's Son, coming Thanksgiving 2020. I am Teasy Scott. Instagram, Twitter. Follow me. Show love. Follow the podcast. Twitter.com/SwerveCityPod. Make sure you follow that page. Hit the Patreon. Patreon.com/SwerveCityPodcast. Come to Patreon. You know, spend a couple bucks, get that extra content from us. We'll be putting out work for you guys.
Content.
Subscribe to youtube.com/SwerveCityPodcast. We try to get to that 5,000 subscribers. Our subscribers are gaining like crazy.
Yeah.
And make sure you show love, man.
Yeah, well, we gotta hop off of here because we gotta get prepared for Miss Bailey. What's she calling herself now? Bailey Doe Straps. So we got a podcast with Bailey coming up. You know, the SmackDown Women's Champion and SmackDown Tag Women's Champion. We preparing for that. So we always got something cooking.